All right, good evening and welcome to the Bladensburg Town Council meeting for Monday, September 11th. As you all know, today is a solemn day in our nation's history, and so as we call the meeting to order and proceed with today's opening prayer, at the conclusion of it, there will be a moment of silence. And at this time, I'm pleased to turn the opening prayer over to Senior Pastor Mr. Wade Sr. from the Body of Christ Christian Church, and who's also a proud Town of Bladensburg Code Enforcement Officer. So over to you, Pastor Wade.
And the mayor requested that we have a moment of silence. Amen. Let us look to the Lord. Thank you and amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor Wade. At this time, we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all so much. And again, thank you for that powerful prayer, Pastor Wade. At this time, we'll proceed with our agenda to the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any edits or questions regarding the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. We do not have any appearances for tonight's meeting, so we'll proceed on to item number 6, which is the approval of the meeting minutes for Monday, July 10th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any edits or changes to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. So I'm pleased to say we have transitioned back to our in-person meetings, and at this time, we'll turn it over to our town clerk, Mr. Richard Charnovich, to read the public comments that were submitted. And then also following Mr. Charnovich's reading of the minutes, we do have, I believe, one resident who signed up. Even though the comments were submitted electronically, I think she'll speak at the podium.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've received 3 total public comments for tonight's meeting. And I will start with public comment number 1, which is from town resident Mr. Steve Weitz. I want to thank Bladensburg Police Chief Collington and the Bladensburg Police Department for requesting to buy 3 mobile surveillance trailers. These mobile surveillance trailers will help reduce crime in our shopping centers, schools, our neighborhood, and will make our town much safer. These cameras will not only help prevent crime, but they also make town residents feel safer knowing the shopping centers, schools, and neighborhoods are being protected by the Bladensburg Police. Chevrolet currently uses a mobile surveillance trailer in the parking lot of Walgreens drugstore and the shopping center at the corner of Landover Road and Kilmer Street next to Route 50 to help reduce crime. Colmar Manor also uses a mobile surveillance trailer in the Colmar Manor shopping center next to the IHOP restaurant. I really appreciate Chief Collington and the Bladensburg Police Department going beyond the call of duty every day to protect our town residents and find ways to improve public safety. I hope Chief Collington will have a few minutes to present this new public safety program during our town council meeting. I have a couple questions. Thank you. I also want to thank Councilmember Rout for her years of dedicated service to our town and our town residents and congratulate her on her appointment to the school board. Mr. Steve Weitz, town resident. Our second public comment this evening is from town resident Carletta Lundy. Dear Bladensburg Mayor, council members, town staff, and residents, to begin with, I am delighted to have this opportunity to share thoughts about my former colleague, Ms. Jocelyn Rout. During our years on the Bladensburg Town Council, I had the pleasure of witnessing how Ms. Rout, on behalf of Bladensburg families, was an agent of change, led by example, and made thoughtful policy and community program and project recommendations that were enacted and successfully accomplished. Thank you for being so dedicated and hardworking. To our town council and staff, thank you for ensuring the improvement of town roads on 57th Avenue. It goes without question that the pavement project helps our environment. The smooth travel surface is appreciated. In addition, thank you to our Public Works team for your oversight and diligent work on this project. Also, thank you for painting the crosswalks white to ensure the safety of pedestrians. I was elated to see posted at Bladensburg social media site construction photos of renovation of the Bladensburg High School athletic field. Given necessary attention to the renovation of the field became one of my priorities during my years on the council. The completion of this project is important to our school community and alumni. Finally, it is wonderful to see the Bladensburg Branch Library and parking lot taking shape. Town resident Carletta Lundy. And our third public comment this evening is from Ms. Jocelyn Rout. Mayor. Would you am I reading it, or is she presenting?
She's going to present.
Okay.
I understand she wanted to speak.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening, Town Council, residents and staff. So I was honored by the Town Council and the staff earlier today, so I'm just going to take some of my time because I forgot to say something and it was really important for me to come back. I didn't thank the town staff. I was really flustered because my daughter was picked up from daycare and she had bit her tongue and it was like really bad and I wasn't focused. But I want to sincerely thank the town staff for their support of me in my office during the time that I have been serving. You all have been championing ideas when there's a program, a wild idea. You've always come through and I really, really, really thank you for the support. Let me get to my reading. As a concerned resident and an advocate for inclusive democracy, I believe we should review our voting and elections procedures. Over the last month, I've received numerous flyers at my residence and observed flyers posted in local businesses regarding candidacy of offices. To my understanding, last week, the candidates were certified. This means they've been campaigning well before. The charter calls for candidates to be able to file their candidacy at least 45 days prior to the election, and this language does not preclude applications being made available prior to 45 days to the election. Unfortunately, the applications were not made available to potential candidates until August 18th, which does not give adequate time for candidates to be certified and campaign. My request to the town staff and the town council is to review the charter pertaining to elections with the town attorney for guidance, as there have been many charter violations to include the selection of the Board of Supervisors. I also feel it's time Bladensburg begins taking a crucial steps towards creating a more equitable and engaged community. Because we're a diverse and vibrant place, enriched by the contributions of people of all various cultural backgrounds and walks of life, many non-citizen residents have lived in our city for years, paying taxes. It's only fair that they have a voice in shaping the policies and decisions that affect their lives. I urge the town council to carefully consider the specifics of how non-citizen voting will be implemented, ensuring that it is both inclusive and secure. Many other municipalities across Prince George's County have successfully implemented similar measures, and we can learn from their experiences. Lastly, I would like to thank the town council. I would like the town council to share the reports publicly with the last fiscal year's consultants to inform the development of a comprehensive strategic plan for our town. As an engaged and concerned resident, I believe that having a strategic plan in place is essential for the continued well-being of our community, which will ensure that financial resources are used in a way that supports the citizens' views of strategic goals, which will enhance accountability and facilitate informed decision-making. This alignment between strategy and budget is crucial for our town's long-term financial success and will eliminate fiscal waste. So in my last 35 seconds, I'm going to go back to truly thanking our staff, and I deeply apologize for not addressing you earlier, but you all are too amazing, and the residents and myself, we really appreciate you. 22 seconds left.
And that concludes public comment for tonight. Thanks to all the residents for submitting your feedback. At this time, looking at item number 8 on the agenda, we do not have any unfinished business, so we'll move right into agenda number 9 for financial business. We did briefly discuss these items in the work session, but at this time, we'll turn it over to Chief Sumner for the first item, request for reallocation of funding. Or TA, did you want to set this up and then turn it over to Chief Sumner?
Sure. Yeah, so this is a request for reallocation of funding to make a one-time donation to the Bladensburg Fire Department. Attached to the agenda was a little bit of information regarding the 2023 Chevy Tahoe. And Chief, if you want to come on up to the podium, I'm going to pass it on to you in a couple of seconds, so don't worry. The approximate cost is $45,483, which is due at the time of the pickup. They also provided some information on some of the EMS calls, because I think that was something that the council wanted to know, and that's been attached for your purview. In 2018, there were 1,089 calls. In 2019, pre-COVID, there were 1,122 calls in the town of Bladensburg. In 2020, the beginning of COVID, there were 963 calls. In 2021, during COVID, there were 977 calls, pardon me. In 2022, again, this post-COVID year, it's 990. And year to date, there are 652 calls within the town of Bladensburg, as I'm reading from here. But the chief is also here. Chief Sumner will be able to give you more information. Thank you, Chief Sumner.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, staff. The new vehicle is essential for our department, and the reason for that is it will serve as the vehicle for our deputy chief. It will be his primary response vehicle. His primary role is to manage the day-to-day operations of our department, responding to emergency calls and establishing incident command upon working incidents. This vehicle will also serve as a mobile command post, just like my vehicle is currently. It will assist either with a single or unified command. Several months ago, we had a missing autistic child in the town of Bladensburg, and we used my command vehicle as the center point for the police department and the fire department together while conducting the multi-hour search. And that is one of the things that the vehicle will be used for. Not only will it be used inside the town, it will also be used for other citizens outside of the community. As you are aware, Bladensburg Fire Department responds everywhere from Tilden Road to Marlboro Pike. So we respond in a very large area. I myself, with my vehicle, have run incidents in College Park, Hyattsville, Colmar Manor, Cottage City, Berwyn Heights, Lanham. And again, we go all the way down to District Heights area. The vehicle is essential. The vehicle also acts as a first response vehicle, kind of like today. Unfortunately, we had a sad incident up on Emerson Street today. I was the closest person, I was the first one there. The deputy chief will have the same equipment in his vehicle that I do, which will consist of an AED, aid bag, O2, and anything else that he does. The deputy chief does come across quite a few accidents while traveling from his home to here, and has stopped numerous times to assist citizens, to include those that have been entrapped in vehicles. This is the reason for the request for the new Tahoe.
Great, thank you, Chief Sumner. And I'll open it up to the council for questions at this time. If not, I'll start with questions. Chief, I definitely understand the need for the vehicle and appreciate the service of the fire department to the town, and especially the leadership that you bring, and also President Katz. The concern I have, though, is we've just fully funded the new ambulance, and then to come back, to $45,483. I do think that if you all are open to it, we need to push the other municipalities to boost their funding, because as you said, you serve a lot of other communities besides Bladensburg, and I'm willing to make those calls myself to say, look, here's what our community is doing, because we believe in the support that this volunteer, not career, but volunteer agency is providing to our communities, and we want to see our peers stepping up to support. I think it's fair, as long as the fund supported that, rather than doing the monthly contribution, if we just front load the $30,000 to go toward that. But I just can't, I can't see the town taking on, another vehicle expense when we know communities are benefiting tremendously from the awesome service that your team provides. And so that's just, my initial feedback, but I defer to my colleagues for further input.
I would back the mayor on this decision because I'm trying to, we have municipalities which we'll talk with them to see if they can step up to the plate as well to meet halfway, not saying that we can't, but if they can meet up with us halfway, I'm in support of.
And just to clarify, council members, so we do have the $30,000 contribution in the budget. So I was just saying, normally, Mr. Tonelli, our treasurer, pays it on a monthly incremental basis. So if the funds can support it, we just give them the annual donation up front to go toward that. And then I'll call the other mayors and ask them to contribute. That still is going to have a need of just under $15,000. But I feel like if we're doing our part, they should be able to step up and help with that.
And with that upfront at $30,000, what do they normally use that for? What do you use that $30,000 for?
That gets used for everything from fire prevention material to apparatus payments. So just so that the town is aware, and I'm sure I've said it before, currently with the new fire truck that we bought, the new engine, the Seagrave engine, we currently pay $43,000 every 3 months for that vehicle. It's a very steep payment, but that is the payment that we make. We are finishing up payments on our 2013 ladder truck. Again, that was almost $1 million ladder truck that we were paying for out of bingo money or ambulance billing, and we're just getting to the point of almost paying that off. And that was back in 2013. We are limited with funds, and I know, yes, as a chief, I've come to this council numerous times and saying, hey, help, help, help. I wouldn't cry for help or ask for help if it wasn't necessary. We do provide service as volunteers. As the mayor said, we are not paid. I have been to other municipalities. The town of Edmiston gives us $7,000 a year. They do what they can do. I've been to Hyattsville, and they looked at me and laughed and said, we barely give our own firehouse money, but we do give them money. I've been to Colmer Manor, Cottage City, Mount Rainier, and Brentwood, and they won't even, only one of them supports their own firehouse. I've been to the town of Cheverly, and they were like, oh, we'll split it between you, Chapel Oaks, and Kentland. And then we never heard anything else out of them. So we've been to other municipalities, and we have asked. We're doing what we can do. We're surviving. I've said it before, unfortunately, with our equipment and the stuff that we use, we are way more expensive for one-time purchases than the police department. I don't like it. Trust me, I've shown Chief Collington some items. I have one tool that I have to purchase. It's a $15,000 tool. And that's just to be able to get people out of cars. So we do use our money responsibly. We don't go out and wildly spend it. And that was one of the reasons that we came to ask for assistance with this.
So in question, I'm just asking, Chief, is that
Yes,
a
ma'am.
part of safety? I just thought I'd throw that out there. Safety,
Yes, so that too can be utilized by the police
Okay.
department as well.
okay, so I'm just,
So that is something that we considered is the purchasing, I believe it was the Jaws, is that the Jaws of Life that we could support out of the speed camera fund for that particular item. We just did not recommend this one out of the speed camera fund because of the issue that we're trying to make sure that we cover everything the police department uses directly out of this fund. Or as far as from our, or signage, those are the two issues that we are looking at. Public safety signage, things like that.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, and especially with the Jaws of Life, because that's the one that's $15K, right?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
nice hydraulic.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Councilmember Brown.
I'll just listen. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were trying to speak when Councilmember Blunt was. I'm sorry.
So, because Mayor, since we are asking for funding, you can direct staff on if you would like us to allocate funding for an item for the fire department that, if you would rather for us to make a donation in regards to the funding for the Jaws of Life, we can make a donation in that regards. But we need your direction on where to, if there is a desire to donate funding.
And so just going back to my earlier question, Mr. Tonelli, with the $30,000 annual contribution, are we in a position where we can just go ahead and provide that now to help?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And
with
so
the-
how soon could we provide that? Because the payment is due upon delivery, right?
For
For the truck?
Yeah, for the truck? Yes.
To tomorrow.
Okay.
Wednesday
And
rules.
that's
Wednesday realistically.
realistically
because-
Wednesday, right?
because of- yeah.
And that's currently within the budget.
And the 15,000, I mean, that, you know, that's something that could be coming out of speed camera? Is that the
That's
public
what we had
safety expense?
discussed.
Yeah.
We had
so-
discussed that something like that could come out of speed camera, and that's why I did not do the allocation yet out of which fund. I suggested ARPA in regards to the vehicle, but the speed camera could, for the Jaws of Life, that could come out of speed camera. I just didn't feel comfortable putting a non-police
Right.
vehicle on speed camera.
Understood. And then, Chief, just again, to make sure, because that's technically law enforcement funding, you are comfortable with the 15K donation toward the Jaws of Life apparatus?
Yes, because that, you know, as the chief and I discussed that he would be willing to cross-train our officers on utilizing that piece of equipment as well. So,
So that 15K, again, would come from speed camera funding. On the operating budget, the 30K is already in there, so it's just a matter of directing staff to go ahead and cut the check this week. And then just in terms of follow-up, Chief, I am going after, I made a list, but all these mayors, because I don't think it's fair that we keep coming back and we're so generous and they're not doing that part. And that's the point that I want to make to them. It's not that you're not deserving of the support, you are, but we need to really push them to write these checks and not take a month. But this is an urgent need. The mobile command center, like you said, in the situation with the missing autistic child, I was out there with you guys in the rain that night, and there's no substitute for not having those resources. So I totally understand. But I mean, again, just being realistic, given that you have a range, broad area, District Heights, all the way north to College Park, I just think it's not fair for Bladensburg to have to bear the load alone. So with that, we don't have to do any sort of budget transfer on the 15K for the speed cameras?
No, as long as you give me the direction in this to make that.
Okay.
So the direction would be is that to approve the funding request for one-time funding request for in these particular accounts, and to give staff that direction is what I'm asking as far as the possible motion for this. And then if there are items, let's say that the Chief Sumner has installed in the vehicle, like that are public safety, not the vehicle itself, but other public safety things, like I believe that it might be any kinds of radios or things like that, I can look at those items as well for speed camera, if that makes sense.
It
Does that make
does.
sense, Mayor? And if so, if you gave me the authorization for that as well, we can look at that to be able to assist them. Does that?
Sure. So is there a motion to provide authorization to a town administrator to utilize speed camera funding? This would be up to 15K to go toward the Jaws of Life apparatus, and then funding to cover the, I don't want to say outfitting, the
related equipment.
related telecommunications equipment related to public safety for the new vehicle for the fire department. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any further comments or discussion?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. I just, in terms of opera, is there any instead of just out of the operating budget, could any of that funding be used
We're
for the
using
vehicle?
we're using speed camera for
For
the
the speed
Jaws of
cameras,
Life.
speed camera's not opera funding,
No,
no?
I
Okay.
initially.
I'm talking about for the vehicle.
I just initially said we do not have any other money in the budget that has not been designated in general fund that we could buy a vehicle with besides ARPA. And so that's the reason why ARPA was the only other fund if we were not going to use speed camera. And because I'm making the suggestion that we do not use the speed camera for other agencies.
Right.
And my recommendation to your point with not using ARPA is I strongly believe we've done a lot of things to help people.
Yeah.
We've done security cameras, rental assistance, utility assistance, mortgage assistance. And so we have to start looking at some long-term projects. While those things are important, but this money is dwindling. And so when we look back 5 to 10 years from now, there has to be some stable things that are still here infrastructure-wise and otherwise that we can point to with those funds, because once they're gone, they're gone. I think revisiting it, if it makes sense to do so, to say, okay, well, these other projects aren't taking off and ARPA funding is still there, then yes, let's consider it. But we did ARPA for the ambulance. We did CARES Fund acting for the chassis and the box for the ambulance. So we've been using that federal money to help the the fire department. My concern is, what are we doing townwide to make sure that there's a lasting impression that makes this community rise long-term, that 10 years from now, we can look back and say, that was a good investment. The rental assistance is good. People stayed in their homes, but in 10 years, they may not even live in town. So that's my worry.
Yeah, and then the other concern is that with the $30,000, then that takes away from the monthly, which about $2,500, $3,000 that you all would have, because we give that funding to you all on a monthly basis. So for a year, you would not receive any funding monthly.
I actually believe it's quarterly, but yes, ma'am.
It's quarterly.
It's quarterly, Mr. Tonelli?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'd like to work with you and talking to the other municipalities, because with that funding, we'll be able to support what he spent here for anything they might use if they decide to step up and step to the plate. Those fundings will be used for
do that
anything else he
quarterly.
may need.
Agree.
Yeah.
If we can get that, and I feel like if I can just do a draft letter, send to each of you, we hit them via email, but then we follow up with the phone calls and meeting requests. And if they're open to it, invite Chief Sumner or President Katz to the conversation. It can even be virtual, but I just feel strongly we have to push, because you guys shouldn't have to keep coming back in this position. As hard as you work for the county.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, prior to COVID, we didn't come here and ask very much for anything prior to COVID. COVID has taken a toll. Bingo is our primary income. And I will tell you that our bingo funds are down dramatically. And even our call volume overall is down, which affects the ambulance billing. That's one of the reasons, unfortunately, I hate to say keep coming back to the well, but we keep coming back. It's not because we really want to or want to solely depend on the town. We're kind of in that position of, coming out of COVID still, and things still have not recovered fully from where they used to be.
Yes, Councilmember Blunt?
A resident service coordinator question, but maybe then you all could start doing some fire drills for the seniors, just in case.
So I know where you're going with that, and again, I will go on record and apologize for that. And if I can, real quick, just indulge me on that one. I didn't want anybody just to do that, and as the mayor knows, Teresa Chrisman is probably the best in the state, to the point that she was working with Prince George's County and was actually recruited by the state fire marshal. And I was trying solely to get her to come to 5999 and do that drill, because if I'm going to have somebody do it, I'm not going to settle for a half person. I want somebody that is an expert in that field, and I was really pushing to try to get her.
Thanks for letting me know now.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that concludes the discussion. We've already had the motion on the table put forth in a second. So now I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chief. And so Mrs. Bailey Hedgepeth will follow up just to make sure the check is issued this week, so they get that right away.
It will be part of your normal weekly memo.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. The next item B, is the request for reallocating funding from the ARPA business program to fund a town beautification team. Almost said council member, town administrator Bailey Hedgepeth.
No problem. Mayor, Council, what is this? We're asking for the approval for money for the beautification team. I did a short presentation, very short, in regards to this project, to try to keep it, to kind of go over the key project points. Are we, okay, I'll let you go to the next slide, I guess. The first slide is in regards to, just to kind of tell you what's the program's purpose, budget, time, and overall timeline. So the purpose of the program is to augment our commercial corridor, as I mentioned in the, as part of the study session. What we'd like to do is add additional staff in the fall and the spring for part-time workers, hopefully local town workers, to come and work on our beautification team. We're looking to hire 4 to 5 new people for approximately 600 hours a year, Vito. Can you see it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, you can see it, okay.
Yeah.
So 600 hours, 660 hours a year, that's my max, I believe, isn't
Yeah.
that, for part-time workers. The overall budget for this project is estimated at $250,000. I've broken that out on the next slide so that you can see that. Well, I'll let,
Grab yourself real quick.
no problem, no problem. The town's current funded, I'll just read the program progress slide. So the town's current public works funding and staffing level must be improved to make noticeable gains in maintaining our entryways. We've been looking at our signage, and we've been looking at the way that we've kept our right-of-ways, and we just see that there's something that needs to be done. So I've sent the town council copies of some new signage that we're going to be doing, and we will also introduce that to the public over the next couple of weeks. The next slide basically outlines the hiring of staff at $100,000. Again, that is 4 to 5 part-time staff for 660 hours in both the spring and the summer. And the next would be some capital equipment costs, which would be an additional mower and some additional mowers and vehicles, signage and landscaping upgrades to our commercial corridors and our entryways, and then other tools. I'm looking at purchasing additional big mouth trash cans for the town, which have been pretty successful, and they also offer the opportunity to use advertising. What I'd like to do with Big Mouth is to basically clean up our existing ones so that we can start either advertising town events or actually use that for real advertising. The next slide is in regards to the program timeline. The initiation phase would be for September through October, where we would start the hiring of part-time staff, the purchasing of materials, the implementation of first steps. I believe that we can implement this pretty quickly. I've already drafted a draft set of duties in regards to what the part-time beautification team member would look like. This has been used in other municipalities in the area where they have beautification teams. From October through June of 2024, the team will be activated, and we'd like to use them to work throughout the town. Also looking at some of the right-of-ways that we currently don't maintain on state roads. I'd like to actually increase, I would say out here in Kenilworth, that where we see the weeds all the time, getting a deal with SHA so that we can get out there and start cutting down some of those weeds, and then improving our existing SHA right-of-ways. From April to June, we evaluate the team's result and to determine next steps as far as FY 2025. Probably by February, as part of the budget process, we'll say, is this working, is this not working? Is it worth us funding this for the new fiscal year? And then my last slide is just about questions. Again, I attached copies of what we're looking for, and I guess I will use this as my, if there's anybody watching who would like a job, the rate of pay is between $19 to $23 an hour. We're looking for people from 25 to 35 hours per week. The town is looking for somebody that is just a minimum of 18 years old, can drive a car, have, know how to use maintenance, how to use lawn maintenance equipment and small tools, assist other workers like craftsmen and tradespeople, receive a daily assignments and follow our rules, maintain a regular schedule, and can do medium to heavy work involving lifting no more than 50 pounds and have some manual dexterity and motor control for a variety of tasks. Again, someone with a high school diploma. We're looking for people at least 18 years old to take these jobs, and a driver's license is a plus for people. In the past, when I did implement these programs in another municipality in Prince George's, we did work with returning citizens who were able to be probably some of my best workers in that town. And people, I'm open-minded, and I've talked to the chief about, when we're doing our background checks, to make sure that we're looking, and if someone does have a past criminal history, but to be able to look at that and to say, what the determining initiative risk is. But I have found that this program has been very beneficial, and I think it helps us to hire local people that live in the area and the neighborhoods to work for us. So that's the long and short of it. That's my recommendation. If we don't spend all the funding, we will, of course, it'll remain in the ARPA funds, but we're asking for that to be transferred so that from the standpoint of you and I, from accounting standpoints, and we can tell you how and when we've spent it, and we will provide the council and the citizens, because I put this in my thing, in regards to what we spent and what kind of actions we're getting out of it.
Yeah, this sounds fantastic. And just in terms of trying to attract economic development, the beauty, the cleanliness of a community is going to help us go a long way in selling Bladensburg to developers and investors. So it's critical that we move in this direction. I did just want to ask, because it came up previously, and the slowdown is not with us, it's with SHA. So I did reach out a couple of months ago asking, can we resume conversations about the town taking on the exit ramps on Kenilworth, which is a huge area where trash collects. I know initially, and I wish Mr. Hall was still here, but he did indicate we need for the mowers the articulating arm in order to do that.
Right.
So I just did quick Google searches, and it looks like they're about $15K.
Right.
And I think it's worth the investment, because once we get to the point of the MOU being signed, having that equipment ready to go and put to work is going to really make a huge difference.
And that's the reason why we put the estimate in there for the additional mowers for that, because of that particular need. So that's what we're really estimating. And the other small tools would be, we have money in our small tool budget that we don't have to, that we can take out of that. But for this ARPA program would be for those type of mowers for those SHA right-of-ways in particular.
Excellent. So that's just a reminder that if you can help me remember to follow up with Mrs. Mason again
we will,
to see
yeah.
where we are with it.
Yeah.
But at this time, I'll call for a motion to, yes. Go ahead, Councilmember Brown.
Okay, so thanks for that. One thing I would like to say in terms of the returning citizens, I think that's definitely good, and I'm sure that the county has a program where they can probably send some referrals.
Yeah, we're actually working with the Office of Employee Prince George's. And so we are going to be working with them. As soon as we get this out, we're going to send this through Employer Prince George's, and they have some returning citizen programs.
And then the other thing with the off ramps and working with SHA, because I remember previously, Mayor, we had talked to them about the town helping with some of that beautification, but then I think there was also some reimbursements, because they are actually the ones who are supposed to keep those areas beautified.
Right.
So is there the reimbursement?
We will still, we will still seek those
for-
reimbursements. It's
Okay.
just more for the initial charge. So yes, and hopefully that's what will help us to fund this long term when we're bringing it back to you for the fiscal year.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so with that, is there a motion to approve the reallocation of $250,000 in ARPA business funds to fund the town of Bladensburg beautification staff as identified and detailed in our summary here?
I so moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any further questions or comments?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes. So in terms of, because I know that maybe with the businesses, they, maybe we did not get the numbers that we had anticipated for coming and applying for those opera funds. So since we're moving from that line item, as I'm understanding, so if businesses do come back and we do need to support them, and they the application process, they are approved, are we going to satisfy those
We still have
requests?
$150,000. There's still $150,000
Okay.
remaining in the fund. So at the
Okay.
rate that we've gone, we
Okay.
believe there's plenty of funds for, as businesses come to us, we can still, there's $500,000 total.
No, when the money runs out, no.
No. Well, no, there is a deadline. The deadline
Well,
is the
the-
fiscal.
the- yeah,
it's
yeah,
next-
yeah, the,
By the end of next fiscal,
the federal- yeah,
by
right,
December
under the
of
federal.
2024.
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Federal
middle of next fiscal. So that's the reason why we would like to do those, to expend it out, because,
Yeah, because I definitely think there still needs to continue to be that push to the businesses. As a matter of fact, I did speak with some businesses this past weekend over there at the, when I attended the event over there, so,
Okay.
but
there's
my
a,
question,
yeah,
there's
but
still,
there's
the
$150,000 still.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, any further comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it, the motion passes. And we will turn the next agenda item over to Chief Collington, or I guess a combination of Town Administrator and Chief.
I will let Chief Collington handle the rest of this and any of your
Yes,
questions
he's
on
got to do it back to back.
So the special assignment team. This is a proposal to create a new special assignment team consisting of 3 our current officers, and then I'll be asking to backfill with 3 new hires. So in 2022 to 2023, there's been an uptick in violent crimes occurring within the town of Bladensburg that include but not limited to homicide, robberies, carjacking, shootings, assaults, and auto thefts that require more than just the daily efforts of the uniformed officers to identify, locate, and arrest individuals responsible for committing crimes against residents and property. Many of these crimes are being committed by the same group of individuals, and many do not reside within the town of Bladensburg. The Bladensburg Police Department is the primary law enforcement entity in the town and has the responsibility of reducing crime in town. I'm seeking approval from the town council to increase our current staff level from 28 to 31, which will include assigning 3 current officers to the special assignment team, and we will hire 3 new officers to backfill those positions. The cost of the funding for the 3 officers will come from the speed camera program, which the cost is included in your council packet. The goal of creating this program is to enhance our ability to reduce crime in Bladensburg by allowing the plainclothes SAT team, which is special assignment units, to saturate areas where there's a high probability that criminals are targeting residents for the purpose of committing violent crimes as mentioned above. Our current staffing level does not allow for the opportunity for patrol officers to spend long hours conducting surveillance details focused at developing leads, and which are important to identifying and arresting and prosecuting individuals responsible for committing crime within the town. Mostly all primary law enforcement agencies have special assignment teams within their jurisdiction who have the ability to work covertly within areas where there is an increase in crime. Within the town of Bladensburg, the special assignment team will be responsible for work in shopping centers during peak holidays when commercial robberies increase and there is the community is at risk. The SAT units will work closely with our Criminal Investigations Division investigators. The duties of the SAT units will consist of working plainclothes capacity, operating unmarked covert vehicles, interviewing witnesses and suspects, collaborating with other law enforcement agencies to compare notes and exchange intel information, developing leads in criminal cases that link suspects to crimes that occur within the town and surrounding jurisdiction, applying for and executing arrests, as well as search and seizure warrants, preparing case files for the state's attorney's office for criminal prosecution. Additionally, additional responsibilities for the SAT units will be acting as lead investigators in cases involving that occur within the town of Bladensburg. In closing, I would like to reiterate that there's a crucial need to add this unit to the Bladensburg Police Department to enhance our ability to utilize officers who can saturate and focus on identifying, arresting, and prosecuting individuals for committing criminal activities within the town of Bladensburg. Our patrol officers have the responsibilities of traffic enforcement, providing uniformed police services, which would not allow them the opportunity to spend an enormous amount of hours following up on leads and following up on cases, developing informants and things like that to close out cases.
Any comments or questions from the council? I know just personally, I understand the uptick in crime is really not Bladensburg, it's regionally, and for a variety of factors. And if we're looking at a recession coming soon, I know that's going to present challenges as well as people feel more desperate because maybe they don't feel they have certain economic opportunities. So certainly understand the intent of this plainclothes unit. And I mean, it's like that police department budget, chief, just keeps growing and growing and growing. And so, you know, as you said before, if we don't use this money by December 31st, we have to give money back to the state, which we don't want to be in that position. And this is a good use of resources, in my opinion. I also know that it has been a lot for your staff because around the holidays is when you have people working those extra hours because, you know, shoppers are coming in with packages around the holidays. But that takes its toll on the officers, and they can only sustain that for so long. And I don't want them experiencing burnout, and think this would be a great way to support them with this SAT unit or SA unit. So that's my feedback. And Councilmember Brown is already unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, as and kind of as we discussed earlier, I mean, it's unfortunate there regionally there's an uptick in crime. We, as we live here in the town of Bladensburg, definitely, you know, want to see the continued public safety support of us as residents. I mean, on the other side, there have been shootings and carjackings and a host of things, and while some are, you know, probably not residents here in the town of Bladensburg. So, I mean, I think it's good. And then also, as we discussed a little earlier, is looking at the sustainability of it over the next 2 to 3 years, because currently we are using the speed camera funding, and then also with that with that potentially unit being put in place, how do you measure to say, okay, well, you know, now that the crime has decreased, you know, what do we do? Do we still, you know, keep that force? So, you know, kind of, you know, looking at that as well. So, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for those points, Councilmember Brown. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so, go ahead, Councilmember McBride.
I just want to know, what is the other transportation?
Oh, other transportation are for schools. No, they're older cars. Let's just say that, older cars. We had a different name for them. I had to put other transportation.
Decoy cars, is that appropriate term?
We use a number of
Yeah, so that's
covert cars that don't look like police cars.
Okay.
So they won't be riding around in like, you know, the Explorers, and they'll be blending into the community.
The original budget had hoopies.
Yeah, I removed that.
That's a technical term.
That's a technical term. I decided to remove that and put other vehicles.
Hey, Chief, I don't know, that lends to the 2 decoy or whatever cars they are on Newton Street.
You saw I got 8 up there, right?
I still do.
And we were trying to help them out. And they were ready to call the police on us for putting those junk cars up there.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so with that, is there a motion to direct staff to spend now up to $550,000 from the speed camera funds for use and establishment of a fund for the special assignment team?
There's a typo. It's 510. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, even better.
I made a typo there. 510. Sorry.
510. Correction for $510,000.
I just noticed it was 50 on this page. Sorry, Chief.
No, that's it.
Chief wasn't going to correct you. He's like, hey. More hoopties? No. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. And Chief, the ball is still in your court for the surveillance towers and mobile accessories.
Yes, and forgive me, community. I did not greet the community today. I'd like to say good evening to everyone. So our second project is the use the purchase of 3 surveillance camera trailer systems. So we have vetted 3 vendors for the cameras. Again, putting these cameras in our high crime areas will give us that second set of eyes in the community. These cameras, we have put a couple up already, which we have shared with Newton Green. I'm sorry, not Newton Green. Bladenwood community. So we don't mind working with our community to share our video surveillance as they work with us as well. So these again, these surveillance cameras that trailers that we would like to purchase, we would like to put them in the shopping centers, our high-risk areas around by our schools, so that we have adequate surveillance, 24-hour surveillance in those areas to give us that intel and that video evidence when we need it to help solve crimes. And this actually enhances our ability to close these cases in a timely fashion. So we looked at 3 vendors, and I'll go back there to my notes real quick.
And it's Mobile Pro Systems.
Yes, that is the vendor that we would like to go with. We would like to go with Mobile Pro. They gave us a quote of, for each camera, trailer system would be $43,000 per camera, for a total of $150,000, $580.51. And again, this would come one-time purchase that will come from the speed camera fund as well.
And so we're asking for amount not to exceed 175 because when the estimates were done, there's a shipping cost of between $5,000 and $10,000 for the units.
That's
Plus, there
correct.
might be some ancillary power generators and things like that that also have to be purchased. So that's the reason why we're asking for an amount not to exceed 175.
Great, and I do understand too the advantage with Mobile Pro, we use them already, so at least we're not adopting 2 different systems,
Right.
so
Right.
the video compatibility would be there. And then not only that, but I did appreciate that they have the infrared cameras. With the days getting shorter, there's going to be extended periods of darkness, and so with these cameras in operation as we're going into fall and winter, I think it's super timely, and it'll be helpful, as you said, Chief, with closing some of these cases, having the appropriate video footage that's quality enough that it can actually be used. So I definitely appreciate that recommendation for Mobile Pro Systems. Any further comments or questions?
Mayor, can I say
Council?
one
Oh,
more
sure,
thing?
go ahead, Chief.
And the other advantage of going with this vendor, their system is upgradable. So we don't have to come back before the council and ask to buy new surveillance cameras in the next couple of years. These are upgradable.
Definitely another benefit. And so with that, is there a motion from the council to allocate speed camera funds in the amount not exceeding $175,000 in FY 2024 to purchase mobile surveillance trailers and related equipment?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any further questions or comments for the chief?
Mayor, this will be using the speed camera funds, right?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. So again, December 31st.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner.
It is.
All right, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that completes the items under financial business for tonight. We'll now move into new business with the CPJ, the Charles P. Johnson and Associates one-year contract extension recommendation from the town administrator.
Yes, Mayor, Council, thank you. Tonight, the staff recommends the approval of a one-year contract for engineering service extension with Charles P. Johnson and Associates. Attached to your information is a copy of the information regarding the firm, a copy of the amended agreement, and there's staff information here. I believe Mr. Fetch is on the line as well and is participating here if you have any questions from CPJ. But I would say that they have been a good partner with the town and have helped us in regards to putting together the analysis for 57th Avenue, which was a successful project. But we're looking to work with them on our CDBG funds that we have just been allocated of $155,000 for bridges within the town. But I'll let them, if they want to come on, can we unmute them if they are?
Actually, Ms. Bailey Hedgepeth, it's 8 o'clock and we had advertised the session, so we do need to move
Yeah, we have an
expeditiously.
8:15 for, yeah.
8:15,
So yes.
At this time, are there any questions from the council? I mean, this is our current engineer, so we're just doing a one-year extension with them. The bridge work in town is severely, needed, and so this will allow us to move forward, yes, with that work. So, no worries. And if Mr. Johnson is there or another rep, we definitely appreciate it. But with that, I'll call for a motion from the council to approve a one-year contract extension of engineering services with Charles P. Johnson and Associates.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any questions or further comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much.
Okay, next one is the Economic Development Services Contract with High Street Strategies. Again, attached to the information, and I believe that the consultants are here online if you have any questions for them, but we did go through an RFQ process, and they responded, and their attachments are included.
Yes, and they did provide a thorough response to the proposal, and I think my recommendation to the council would be that we continue with High Street Strategies. Are there any questions or concerns from the council with going in that direction? Okay, hearing none, so I'll call for a motion to approve the agreement with High Street Strategies for Economic Development Services.
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. And then the next item is the approval to allow town administrator to execute a contract with Monarch Butterfly for on-call grant writing services. This too was discussed in tonight's work session. Anything you wanted to add to that, town administrator?
No further comments except for the fact that they are on the line if there were any questions.
Okay. Any questions from the council for the representatives from Monarch Butterfly Enterprises? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a motion to authorize the town administrator to execute a contract with Monarch Butterfly for on-call grant writing services.
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we do need to approve our Town of Bladensburg legislative agenda for the balance of 2023 and 2024. We did review it in the work session and just had agreement from the council to add 2 items to advocate for, go back up in my notes.
Yeah, for the condo association board mayor and for the tenants' rights.
Yes.
And then also that you've asked town administrator to add a section on budget items that we would like to request for bond bill or other requests.
Correct.
And the other thing that we're also checking on is whether or not we needed to remove the cell phone tower, if there are any other things that we could ask for in regards to the location around residences versus things like that, so a square footage. But that's the only items, and I have those in my notes.
Okay, perfect. So is there a motion to approve our legislative priorities as just stated by the town administrator?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Brown. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. And next,
We could staff report.
I think that's everything. Yes, so that was the end. We're now up on 8:04. Were there any burning desires for staff reports that you
They're
had just-
submitted, they're submitted.
They're
as
submitted in
written.
writing?
Yes.
Got it. Chief, anything? Vito?
In the interest of time, no, I have a written report.
The audit is getting started. Got it.
All
got
in the
it.
report, yep.
All right. Got it.
Mako was a great conference. I suggest all of you go to that at least once. So. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess in and of it, the name, I just assumed it was really just for county officials, so definitely we'll plan.
4,700 people came there.
Got
So
it.
it's county, state, local, everybody, agencies.
Okay. So in the budget process, we need to think about that for next year. Yeah, definitely. Okay, that completes the town staff reports. Again, please look for the written reports on the website. I'll turn it over to the council. Are there any burning updates from the council?
Tomorrow, this is, good evening, community. I will look forward to seeing the seniors tomorrow at the senior gala. Tomorrow from 10 to 2, be a lot of fun and excitement. Come on down if you have not registered. Okay, so it's a senior gathering tomorrow, so come on down, Barbie style. You don't have to wear your pink or your blue, but come on down, Barbie style, tomorrow from 10 to 2. Senior gala, sponsored by the town of Bladensburg. Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder. Let me keep flipping past all the pages. Councilmember Brown?
Just welcome back to fall. Looking forward.
Thank you. Councilmember McBride, any report for tonight?
No, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at the gala.
Excellent. I'll be brief. My report is written as well, but I definitely want to take this opportunity to publicly thank our staff for the amazing job they have done, not just all year, but in particular with the annual fireworks event, Chief, with the police department and the million of events that you all did. The organization and the collaboration with our fire department is bar none. You guys are excellent in what you do in delivering resources and services, and for that we are grateful. Mr. Tinelli, I know you've got us kicked off on audit time, and that's well underway. Also wanted to just celebrate Mr. Ray Jeffries, who's not here, who helped put together our first International Day. That was a great start to something that I hope we continue to celebrate the diversity that is part of our community and making everyone feel comfortable sharing their culture. Even Miss Guzman, Eloisa Guzman does Mexican Independence Day and Cinco de Mayo. She was like, this was fantastic. I got to see things that I've never seen before. We had a Japanese dance group and several other elements that definitely added to the event. And then want to also, circling back to public safety, want to thank you, Chief, and the team for Rock the Block. This was in response to some public safety concerns in Ward 1. And so we went straight to Bladenwood condominiums, and you guys had the grill. It just helped people to lower their sort of walls, if you will, and just talk candidly about some of the challenges that they're facing over there. And so we certainly appreciated that opportunity. Also just wanted to note that our new town administrator is doing a wonderful job helping with all these meeting requests. She mentioned the meeting with the Save-A-Lot owner and the retail theft, and I appreciate everyone, Chief, being a part of that as well. So we are thoughtful in our response, and we're not just doing something that helps one business, but really thinking about how we take that to help all of our business owners. And so look forward to pushing on legislation, but also the recommendations that you provided, Chief and Town Administrator. Really want to push the owner to take some investment in the solutions and not just look to the town to help with those items as well. At the back of my report are several legislative updates, and so please take a look at those. Offer input via email or on social media. Definitely would appreciate that. And last but not least, huge kudos and thanks for 57th Avenue repaving. This has been a 2-year process, but I appreciate you guys getting it done this year in time before school started. So huge kudos to the staff. Yes, round of applause, because that was even the students at Elizabeth Seton were like, when is this road going to be fixed? So the fact that we could say it'll be done this summer and we actually kept our word, it goes a long way. So with that, I believe we have come to the conclusion of tonight's agenda.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm saying also the remediation of that standing water problem over there on 48. So, really thank the county for coming out and fixing that huge problem, for years.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it just speaks to the respect that we're getting from State Highway Administration and the attention to the issues that we have. They are definitely being more responsive. I did respond to them via email, and I think that was August, to let them know that was the first time in probably 5 to 7, 8 years that we didn't have flooding in that stretch of the road.
10, 20.
Okay, I was trying to be kind, but yeah, at least a decade, you're right. That we didn't have, that, and they're continuing that work. So we do appreciate the support of all of our partners. And so with that, we're at the conclusion of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Blunt. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember McBride. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Good night. We're adjourned.